Hi guys. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm a pretty big Transformers fan. I mean, it might be obvious, I don't know, we'll see. After 4 years of waiting, I finally saw the newest live action Transformers film last night, Transformers Rise of the Beast, and it was glorious. It was so much fun. Obviously, no movie is perfect. There are things that I was like not really there for, not really happy about, but for the most part, I really enjoyed this film. I want to go see it as many times as physically possible because like I know a lot of people don't like the Michael Bay's Transformers films, but I have such like a deep connection for them and I really do enjoy them. Even the piece of garbage that everyone calls The Last Knight, I really enjoy The Last Knight. I was a bit apprehensive about this film because I'm not a big fan of Beast Wars or Beast Machines. It's like my least favorite thing about Transformers. I was a little bit nervous about the Maximals because I'm like, I don't like the Maximals and Predacons and all of that. And I was very nervous about how they were going to make like a giant metal furry gorilla work, but they did. From the first teaser to the posters, my apprehensiveness for those things were like instantly like taken away and gone. So Maximals worked very well in this film. I really enjoyed this film. If you're a Transformers fan or you've liked the other live action films or you're curious about this film, definitely go check it out. It is worth seeing this film in the big screen. So now I'm gonna jump into spoilers. So if you have not seen Transformers Rise of the Beast, please leave because I do not want to spoil it for you. Without further ado, let's just get right into spoilers. The first thing I want to talk about. So I've mentioned this in quite a few Transformers videos, and if you follow me on Instagram and if you are taking in what I'm wearing, Optimus Prime is my favorite Transformer. Really, the last time we got a good chunk of Peter Cullen as Optimus Prime, like a really good chunk, was in Age of Extinction. We got quite a bit of him in The Last Knight. I feel like the biggest good chunk we got of him was in Age of Extinction, which came out in 2014. So it's almost been 10 years. So my hope for this film was that we would get a decent amount of Peter Cullen as Optimus Prime, and we did. And I was very happy. The first instance we see him after the key has been like projected into the sky. This G1 style truck like go through this like trailer park, see Optimus Prime transform, and then you hear Peter Cullen's voice for the first time in such a long time. Like, I'm getting teary up just thinking about it now. But I was just like, oh my god, it's real. He's here. Peter Cullen as Optimus is here. It was just every time Optimus transformed, whether it be in that scene, you have that scene where he's fighting Scourge on like the bridge when they're in Peru, and he transforms, he's like stomping his foot on the ground, he's like, I'm gonna take your head off, Scourge. Like, he's like, I will take your head. And he does at the end. At the end, he finally like tells Scourge, this is the power of a Prime. And then he just like rips off Scourge's head. I'm like, this reminds me of Michael Bay Optimus Prime, where he was just like killing robots left and right, which I know that's not really typical Optimus Prime style, but I do like a more edgier kind of like, I'm angry, I want to kill something kind of Optimus Prime. I like seeing that little edginess to him. I know a lot of people are not happy about that with Optimus in this film, especially with the way he treats humans, but understandable kind of, and it didn't bother me as much as it did for other people. I was more fascinated in like obviously Transformer stuff in this film, but when we meet Optimus for the first time in this film, he feels guilty. He's carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders because he feels responsible for transporting all of the Autobots to Cybertron. He feels like he failed his home planet. He feels like he failed all of them. He's trying to get back home. There's this key that the Maximals are trying to protect from Scourge, from Unicron, which Unicron is in this film. I was so excited. Like, between the Unicron, the Maximals, and like the G1 Optimus, this is how you take like lore and like our already standing continuity and you make it work in live action, and it works. Like, Unicron didn't look stupid and cheesy. He was very menacing. But anyway, there's this key that the Maximals have that can like transport Unicron to other worlds, and they obviously break it in half and like scatter it to a different planet because they don't want Unicron to get this power, because obviously then he would go eat all other planets, and that would be bad, very bad. So when Optimus sees this key for the first time, he thinks of it as a way for them to get back home to Cybertron. He's carrying the weight of all of guilt. He has so much guilt for what he did to his Autobot. He feels like this is his fault. He feels like he has to shoulder that burden, but it's not his fault. We never really touch on Optimus feeling that guilt of like forsaking Cybertron, forsaking the Autobots. We never really get a hardcore look at that in terms of like live action or even animation. So I like that we get to see this more vulnerable kind of like feels guilt and anger towards himself for not protecting his Autobots, for like scattering them too far from their home. But also he doesn't like humans very much in this instance. He really feels like everything is his fault and he doesn't need to shoulder the burden alone. I think through all of these teachings, like through learning more about humans, from more so from Optimus Primal, I think he's starting to realize that you can trust humans, because the Maximals have been on Earth for many years. and they've learned to put their faith in humans and trust them because there's more to them than meets the eye. Which leads into my next point. One of my nitpicks is I'm a little upset that a lot of Optimus's iconic lines were delivered by Optimus Primal. Now I know Optimus Primal is the Maximal's like version of Optimus Prime because he was named after Optimus Prime. These are such iconic Optimus lines, so to not hear like Peter Cullen Optimus say these lines was very upsetting and like annoyed me and frustrated me, but that's coming from an Optimus Prime fangirl, so like I can just be like one of my nitpicks. Going back to that moment when they're on, I talk about like the bridge where Optimus transforms, which mind you, his transformation is very much like his G1 transformation, which was very exciting. Anytime he transformed, I got goosebumps. I realized after rewatching Age of Extinction and The Last Night, there is a lack of like transformation sequences. So they're Transformers. They're supposed to transform from robot to vehicle and vehicle to, like, so to have a lack of those in the last like 2 major Transformers films has been really upsetting. So to see 3 different like, Optimus Prime transformations in this film was very exciting and gave me goosebumps every time he transformed. I just love him. Bumblebee's first transformation when we see him again is great. All the transformations are really cool. The first time we meet Mirage when he transforms, he was very cool. Like I was very apprehensive about Pete Davidson voicing Mirage, but like within 10 minutes of meeting him, I was like, okay, I'm 100% down for this. He was so funny as Mirage. I know we saw it in the trailer, but that moment after like he drives Noah through the city, like he drops him off at the abandoned building and Noah grabs that baseball bat, Mirage transforms and like, yes, I thought we were boys. I know we see it in the trailer, but after what they've been through, the context of it, it's so much more funnier. It's love, like that friendship, like that bro bond they had. They clicked really well. Mirage was like getting shot at protecting Noah and like ends up like dying. I was like, no, you can't kill Mirage. I really like him. I will say though, Noah wearing like Mirage's like parts as like armor, I thought was very weird. I don't know, this works. I will say though, I'm glad Mirage is back because like I would have been kind of angry if he wasn't. There was a scene when they're in that abandoned building where Mirage, because he turns into like a G1 Lamborghini, which like Sideswipe in G1 would have been in, and then like his racing car that he originally was in G1, I was like, I like those Easter eggs. I like that they acknowledge that. That's very cool. I did cry quite a few times in this film. I think when the first time Optimus Prime showed up, I like teared up. And then when Peter Cullen spoke for the first time, I teared up. I think the time I cried the most was Bumblebee. There is a shot in the trailer where Bumblebee gets stabbed, and I was very scared that he was going to die. And that's exactly what happened. And I was not a happy camper. He goes in to like save Optimus Prime, and he like dies. And I was full on crying, be like, you can't kill Bumblebee. He's my second favorite Transformer. You can't do that. I was so upset. I think that's my other biggest complaint is that Bumblebee died, and for like the majority of the film, he was gone. I was like, what? No, you can't do that. I'm glad he was revived though. And like his comeback was like so epic though. He drops out of that ship and you hear that song, Don't Call It a Comeback, Come On. And I was like, oh my god, this is the coolest, like I'm not dead anymore, like I'm coming back from the dead type of like entrance. He jumps out of the ship. He's flying down, shooting things, stabs and kills like Terracon. I'm just like, oh my god, this is so cool. Not to mention when he lands on the ground, he's like, I am here to kick ass. I loved it so much. I'm upset that he died, but he had a really cool comeback entrance scene, so there's that. There are some really good Optimus and Bumblebee banter. There's a moment where they acknowledge Charlie. Like, Optimus, like, we should have never trusted a human, and just like, I know there was a human good too, that's one human. Charlie reference! Bumblebee's being like, there is humans out there that will help us. I know one of them. We were like the best of friends. I like to think in my own headcanon that every once in a while, in those 7 years, Bumblebee would like visit her. I'd like to think of that in my brain with the bond they had. Speaking of Bumblebee and Optimus moments, there's one moment I can't. Bumblebee's like, you can't handle the truth. And Optimus is just like, oh, we gotta stop letting you go into that drive-in theater. I just love that little interaction they have. But also it's me being able to picture Bumblebee in his like Chimera mode, sitting at a drive-in theater just watching movies and then quoting them throughout the rest of this film and through the rest of his life. And Optimus just being like, oh, really, B? Really? That gets off the same energy to me as when Kate and Optimus are arguing about their kids, and Optimus in Age of Extinction is like, yeah, I went through that with Bumblebee. That gives me the same energy. I don't like, Scourge was scary. Scourge was scary. Like, he is a servant of Unicron because Unicron has part of his soul, and they're looking for those keys which can like make Unicron come to Earth and like destroy Earth. Scourge was scary. There were quite a few times, especially at that museum where Bumblebee gets killed, where he was just dominating Optimus. It was scary because I was like, Optimus, get up, get up please, and he just like almost knocks him unconscious. I was just like, oh my god, Optimus has met his match. Very like scared they were gonna kill Optimus, and I was like, no, he's died so many other times, but not in this film, please. No. One of the moments that I absolutely love, there's a lot of moments in this film that I loved. When there was any Optimus Prime Bumblebee stuff I loved. There's this moment at the end where like all of the Autobots are like driving through this field and the Maximals are running, and you have the iconic like Transformers score, like calling all Autobots from like the first movie, just like ramps up, and I'm just like, oh, they're playing on nostalgia, but also like feels like it's a little bit updated now to fit this film, and it was just like, oh my goodness, tearing up at that point too, because it's like, and then you have Peter Cullen narrating at the end again, which is something I love they do in the Transformers films. It opened with Optimus Primal narrating, and then it ended with Optimus Prime. It was just like goosebumps. That's some of my favorite things about the Michael Bay films is Optimus Prime narrating. The film kind of opens similar to the Bumblebee film, where we're on a different planet. We're on the Maximals planet, and you get to see Scourge for the first time, and he's very menacing. The opening scene gave me chills and goosebumps like the opening of the Bumblebee film. I think my two biggest complaints with the film, well actually there's a couple. Bumblebee dying I was not a fan of. I didn't like that. A lot of Optimus Prime's iconic lines being delivered from Optimus Primal was a little upsetting. No shade to Optimus Primal. Really wish we would have gotten more of Optimus' iconic lines. Even though this Optimus feels like a little bit of a younger Optimus, he's still learning to really trust humans and really see what makes them so special and worth protecting and stuff. I mean, what can you do? I was just happy to have Peter Cullen voicing Optimus again, so I'll take what I can get. And the end credit scene was a little frustrating for me. See Noah flip over the card and it says G.I. Joe. Now, this to me signifies that maybe our next Transformers film is going to be a Transformers / G.I. Joe crossover. Has me a little upset and a little concerned because that just means a bigger human storyline, and at this point, besides the Bumblebee film, I am quite sick of like the human Transformer storyline, especially when it seems that the majority of the human story is always overshadowing the Transformer story. These movies are not called Humans and Transformers. It's called Transformers. You don't need a human element to make us connect to the story, because most of us connect to Optimus Prime and Bumblebee not because they're humans, but because we see so much of ourselves in them. We see the wise leadership of Optimus Prime. We like Bumblebee because he's cute, he's fun, he's a really fun like teenager that like we can all get behind. We don't need a human element to love these characters. Most Transformers fans fell in love with the Transformers because of the Transformers. We see so much of ourselves in these characters. I feel like with animation, they tend to balance it out more because they have more time. They have more time to have more robot elements with the humans, and they make the human characters a lot more enjoyable and entertaining and fun. Whereas live action ones, minus Charlie, because I love Charlie in the Bumblebee film, I think the other films just, we just need a Transformers film that is just on Cybertron or just the robots. And I'm not talking about the one that's coming out next year, but overall I really enjoyed Transformers Rise of the Beast. It gave me good Optimus, Peter Cullen, Optimus Prime that I wanted, and the Bumblebee stuff was great. Did really enjoy Mirage. The humans were okay. A lot of great robot action, especially at the end when they were doing all the fighting sequences. I love it. Like, there was a lot of great moments in this film. I will take all of that and I will roll with it. Literally, I'll roll out with it and I will enjoy it. Let me know what you guys thought about Transformers Rise of the Beast down in the comments section, and I will see you guys with another video very soon. Bye guys!